You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but an old hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, you said you was high class, well, that was a lie. Well, you said you was high class, well, that was just a lie. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but an old hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Rockin'!
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
Hey guys, welcome to this next part of my Elvis Week story. In this video, I am going to take you guys to Coletta's, which is a famous restaurant in Memphis, Tennessee, known for having one of Elvis's favorite foods. So in this video, I will be introducing you over to Jerry Coletta, the owner of Coletta's restaurant. I'm going to show you this favorite food, and also there's one other thing that happened, and it may be why you clicked on this video, I'm not sure, but I may or may not have caught Elvis's ghost on camera, and I'm gonna leave that for you guys to decide. That was not my intention going in, it's what happened. So I'll let you guys decide what you think and leave it at that. I sat down with the owner, Jerry Coletta, to find out a little bit more about the famous Coletta restaurant. And yeah, so let's take a listen. Alrighty, I'm Corley Taylor, and who am I here with?
I'm Jerry Coletta, the owner of Coletta's Italian Restaurant.
Amazing. So tell me a little bit about how Elvis liked to come here, and yeah.
Well, back in the early 70s, Elvis would come into this room they're sitting in now. We call this the Elvis room now. And he would come in with his entourage, and Elvis would sit right here at this chair back here behind us. And Priscilla would sit there, and um, the place was abuzz that he would be here, but people gave him his space. We would close the doors, the doors there, and they'd have their privacy. Now, if he went to the bathroom, he'd have a bodyguard on each side of him. But yeah, they came. It was the early '70s, and I don't know if you saw that menu on the wall up there, but that's the menu Elvis would have seen.
All right.
And I like to tell Elvis visitors, Elvis liked the barbecue pizza.
Okay.
And um, today, the Elvis used to order the 12-inch barbecue pizza. Today it's like $23.
Mhm.
Elvis paid $1.75.
Wow. So that just shows how much time has changed.
Yes, it does. And of course, that menu is 50 years old. But that's the menu Elvis would have seen back in the early 70s.
Awesome.
But the prices on that menu will blow your mind. Coca-Colas were 10 cents. And it's just amazing. It's hard to believe prices were that low back then.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about the history of your restaurant.
Well, we're proud of the fact that this year we're celebrating our 101st anniversary.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, not many restaurants make it to 100. And we've been here 102 years. My granddad started this place in 1923. And he was an Italian immigrant, came through Ellis Island, settled in Memphis. And back then, where the bar is now, that was the whole restaurant, that one room. And he knew how to make ice cream. And he's mainly an ice cream company that made ice cream sandwiches and all types of different ice cream. And he would go around the neighborhood with a horse and wagon and selling ice cream bars.
Wow, that's really fun.
But he also had spaghetti and ravioli on the menu. Being from Italy, he was born in Italy. My dad was born in Italy too. Now, I was born here in Memphis. But intimately, he made his own ravioli, and he had spaghetti and ravioli on the menu. Well, my dad took over in the early 50s, and ice cream and Italian food. It was he said it had to go one way or the other, but he picked Italian food, and so we quit making ice cream, but we added a lot more Italian items on the menu. And as far as pizza is concerned, back in the early 50s, it was an unknown food in Memphis. Pizza, they had it in Chicago and New York, but other cities didn't have pizza in the early 50s. It's hard to believe, but
Yeah, that's really hard to believe.
It is. People didn't know what it was. So, but we had sailors from the local Navy base in Millington. They were coming in and asked for pizza because they had been to those cities and had it and liked it. They wanted it. And my dad said, well, we don't have pizza. You don't know what that is. So they kept asking for it. Finally, he went to Chicago to learn how to make pizza, and he did. And he put it on the menu. It didn't go over too well. People are reluctant to try a new type food. Pizza, what's that? You know, I'll have order ravioli or spaghetti. So, in order to spark interest in pizza, he came up with the idea of a barbecue pizza because everybody likes barbecue. And we also had barbecue sandwiches on the menu. So we already had the barbecue meat that we cooked in a real pit. So he came up with the idea of a barbecue pizza, and he put it on the menu, and it started going over pretty good, and it did. It sparked interest in pizza. The barbecue pizza was Elvis's favorite. If you Google Elvis's favorite pizza, we come up.
That's amazing. So what is it like now, even as it's been so many years since Elvis would eat here and that sort of thing? How are you still seeing the fans reacting and wanting to try Elvis's food and kind of the legacy that left even in a restaurant?
Yeah, over the years, it seems like his popularity keeps getting bigger instead of smaller. I know a lot of his fans are older, but the movie that came out recently about Elvis and Colonel Parker, a lot of the younger fans saw that movie, and they have become Elvis fans too, because we're seeing people come in. And in fact, during Elvis Week, which we call Elvis Week, the anniversary of his death, we get people from all over the world, Germany and Great Britain and Japan and Australia, just everywhere they come, and they're still Elvis fans, and his popularity has not diminished after all these years.
When they come in, do they always try to get the barbecue pizza since it was Elvis's favorite? Is that what you see most of the time?
Well, a lot of times they will, but they also will order different items. But because some of them, they say, barbecue pizza, that don't sound too good, but they'll order one for everybody to share, and they like it. But yeah, they'll order different items too. Now, Priscilla, she liked the spaghetti and meatballs and the lasagna.
Okay.
That's what she used to order.
That's awesome. So, what was Elvis's, like, the whole, I guess they call it still the Memphis Mafia, like when they would come in and they'd come eat and that sort of thing, how would they act in here? Like, would they have a great time? Like, would they be rambunctious or?
Well, you wouldn't know they were the Memphis Mafia. They blended in with everybody else, and no, they were they weren't upsetting to the people at all.
Yeah.
Just regular customers.
Yeah, they seem like such a fun crew. I would have loved to hang out with them.
Yeah.
So what do you think is kind of the future for Elvis fans, and how do you prepare for that in your own restaurant?
The future. Well, Elvis fans, they can't get enough of Elvis. They want to know every little detail. I mean, I tell them little things that they haven't heard before, and they're, oh my gosh, you know. Um, for instance, um, Lisa Marie came in about a year before she died, and it was so cool. She asked to sit where her dad used to sit, and she did. She sat right there in her two daughters sat on each side of her, and I thought that was so cool that she wanted to do that.
That's
Her
really sweet.
her death was so sad.
Absolutely. Um, so it's interesting that there's still so much sentimentality, especially even within the Presley family, just, wanting to still connect. And, it shows a very human aspect despite like all the fame and everything like that. It's just being like, I want to sit where my dad sat and eat what he ate.
Yeah, yeah. And we get a lot of fans during Elvis Week, but also year round we get uh, tourists that are visiting Graceland and Elvis, and that they want to eat where Elvis ate.
That's so sweet. And it's interesting even all these years after his death, that's just still really important to fans.
It is. The legacy of Elvis lives on. Hmm.
And that's another thing that I think is just really beautiful to tie that in is, that you are bringing these like recipes and everything that really started with your granddad coming over as an immigrant. And it really does show that food is something that can live on through generations. And I think that's really, really sweet and a very beautiful thing, even though he probably wouldn't have chosen barbecue pizza. But I still think it's wonderful to see that kind of momentum and what people can bring to the table, and um, just shape human history because of it.
And what's interesting, people from different cultures, like Japanese people will come, and you would think, they like raw fish and things
Hmm.
like. They like barbecue pizza too.
Right.
Yeah, they'll come and um, they want to try the barbecue pizza. Um, in fact, we have shipped we have customers that have relatives in Japan, and they buy a pizza and take it on the plane with them to Japan.
That's so fun to imagine
Yeah,
that it gets all the way over to
all the way to
Japan.
Japan. Yeah,
Wow.
but different cultures, uh, Germans, the French, Japanese, Australians. Food is sort of a common denominator that can bring people together.
Yeah, I think again that's a beautiful thing where Elvis was able to bring so many people all around the world and connect them in ways that they may have not ever connected beforehand.
That's true from all over the world, and we have so many people. There'll be two or three people sitting at a table, and I'll ask, "Where are you from?" And they'll say, "Oh, well, I'm from Chicago, but she's from Los Angeles, and she's from New York." And before they came to Memphis, they didn't know each other, but they met. They met in Memphis, and they kind of formed a bond and started traveling together.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
So, do you have a good Elvis story that you'd like to share?
Uh, well, to show what type of person Elvis was, people say, was Elvis arrogant? Or because we have had uh, movie stars in that were pretty arrogant,
Hmm.
and demanding, but not Elvis. I remember one night George Klein, he brought Elvis in, and Elvis loved our ravioli, and he wanted Elvis to try the ravioli. Well, back then we had a lady making them, and she could only make like 50, 60 dozen a day because we had to make them by hand. They were all roll out the dough and put the meat on each, and then fold it over and cut each one out. Very labor intensive. And I remember Elvis came in. It was a Sunday night, and we had had a busy weekend. We were out of ravioli,
Mm.
so we had to tell Elvis, "I'm sorry, Elvis, we're out of ravioli." I was I call that one of my top 10 most embarrassing moments in the restaurant business. But Elvis didn't get upset. He told the waitress that night to bring him a plate of spaghetti.
That's so sweet. But
Elvis didn't get upset at all. So
yeah,
that shows you what type of person he was.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think because you think of these big stars like always being very demanding and that kind of thing. But what I've heard consistently from people who worked with him and knew him specifically, that he still maintained his very human country boy side.
He was a very down to earth person. Yeah, yeah. A little that I know, I wasn't friends with him at all, but a little bit that I had contact with him, I could tell he was a down to earth person.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you consider that people should take away from uh, the fact that something like this can live on and the kind of impact that they can have?
Well, of course, the impact it has on the city, it brings millions of dollars to Memphis when tourists come to Memphis. So that's one impact. And of course, it helps us too in our business uh, come in. Um, but the enduring legacy of Elvis is just, it's hard to understand how after all these years, he still has a huge, gigantic following. A
Absolutely.
lot of stars, after they're dead, their fame passes away, but not Elvis. His fame lives on.
And it's getting more and more generational, which is very exciting.
Well, like I said, that new movie that came out, it fostered a lot of new Elvis fans, younger fans. And I'll
Maybe
ask them, "Have you seen that movie?" "Oh, I've seen it 5 times."
I think I've seen it about 20 myself.
Not really.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really fun to see kind of I think people like seeing something that is so glamorous and can be such a fascinating story, but yet have such real and human elements to it. I think that's so unique, and I think that's another example of Elvis bridging a gap where maybe other stars haven't. And I think that's probably why he continues to be so successful even in his own passing. Um, well, thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything you'd like to maybe leave people with, and just a thought or just anything?
Well, I like to tell people when they come to try the barbecue pizza. It's a food made in heaven and fit for a king.
That's a great slogan. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Where you hear that? Try the barbecue pizza if you're going to be in Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you, guys. I'm literally sitting in the exact spot where Elvis used to sit here at Coletta's. I can't believe it. It's actually really cool to be like, this would be his point of view. Let me show you. Let me show you what would be Elvis's point of view, because this is the eye line, right? So this is what would be Elvis's perspective right here. Can you imagine, just full of his friends, um, and they're all just sitting there and having all of his people around, just taking a break in Memphis, and after a long day of performing. And this is what he sees. This is his point of view. All right, guys, look, I got an Italian salad. We got some Italian dressing and fresh grated Romano cheese to start. And guys, this cheese, I know this is so dorky, but like the cheese is really good because it's grated fresh Romano. Love some fresh cheese. This is an excellent salad. I'm really enjoying it. So I don't know. I just keep kind of getting hit with this feeling of like, I don't know. It's almost like emotional, Like, again, I know I keep harping on this, but somebody from my hometown making such a big impact on the whole wide world for generations, and all these people still coming here to this day to come and see Elvis and talk about Elvis and perform his songs and dress like him, and all these years later after he's passed away. And there's just something so, I don't it's not, I can't even say like more than, it's like, it's more, I'm about to tear up, it's more than just magical. Like, it really pulls on your heartstrings because you see that you have that feeling of the history behind it. I just truly feel blessed to be here. They're all so nice here. This is just turning out to be such a good week. This is definitely a highlight. Just, man, I don't know. It's a special kind of history, Like, I'm gonna eat at the same place that this historic figure ate at, eat the same thing that he did. But you can with Elvis. And I don't know. It definitely changes your perspective because it's like I was saying in the interview, like food connects people, right? So it's just beautiful how that goes through the generations, and especially again, you've got people that were immigrants that started a business here, and they were here for generations and ended up making Elvis's favorite barbecue pizza. Listen, how amazing is it that an Italian immigrant family brought barbecue pizza to Memphis, Tennessee? We would not be the same. We would not be the same as a society if this did not happen. And if Elvis did not eat that pizza, we wouldn't be the same at all. After that delicious salad, the well anticipated barbecue pizza was ready, and it was time for me to try it. Guys, it's here. How amazing is this? It smells so good. I cannot wait. Look at that. Elvis's pizza right here. And I'm about to try some. Let's see. First bite. First impression. Let's grab a slice. Okay, you know it's good because it's covered in sauce. Get a good bite. Okay. They did not skimp out on the toppings. Okay. First impression. Guys, it's so good. This is very, very delicious. I can see why Elvis loved it. Guys, I stand by this truth. Elvis had really good taste. Memphis barbecue on a pizza. Oh, yeah, Coletta's. I heard of that place. Who recommended it to you? And it's Elvis. Yeah, my bud. Yeah. And we're homies. We're from the same town. So we've been practically besties forever. Me and homeboy. If I could time travel and say one thing right this second to Elvis Presley, I would say, Elvis, your food recommendation is impeccable. Thank you. Thank you very much for this amazing barbecue pizza. I'm having to eat it with a fork because it is so full of toppings. That's how you know it's a quality pizza. So, as I was sitting there eating the pizza, um, I started to feel like the energy in the room was shifting. And I didn't really know why. I was just like, I'm going to let the cameras roll and see what happens. And this is what came of that. So, tell me what you guys think. All right. Now I'm going to ask kind of my paranormal people. Do you sense energy here? Can you feel kind of what I'm experiencing right now? Is that coming through? Is that translating? Because I'm telling you, you can feel something there. Like it's not just Elvis's spirit by himself. It feels like family. It feels like friends. It feels like just a feeling of us. So did you see it? Did he see it? Take another look, slow down this time. Oh, butterfly. I was shocked, right? Because I didn't think this is how the video was going to go. Um, Going into this, I just thought I was making a video about Coletta's and just the restaurant, and I didn't think I would capture anything like this, but I did. I mean, I was sitting in Elvis's chair, looking through his exact perspective, and I caught a spirit on camera. Like, what is that? Like, what is it? I saw it happen across the screen. And when I did, I had to like pause and re-say the thing I was going to say because it happened right in front of my eyes. And I was like, actually, what is going on? You can feel something there. I don't know. Maybe Elvis did possess me because I started to talk like this. Y'all stop being so loud and carrying on. I think I need another Cadillac. I don't think I got enough of them. Phew. Some good pizza. So I told Jerry about like seeing this orb thing, and he's like, "Well, I have somebody you need to meet." And so he introduced me to one of the servers at Coletta's, who says that she's sensitive to paranormal things. All right, guys. So little fun thing that happened here that I was not expecting at all, and I'm about to play back the footage, but I was kind of like, I was picking up on something like I feel like my emotion was kind of hitting and that sort of thing. And, I said, "What do you think, guys? Anybody who can sense anything that's paranormal?" And right as I said that, an orb went right across. And I was like, that's insane. And, I was talking to Jerry, and he said, "Well, I got somebody special you need to talk to because she knows all about that here. So will you tell us all your name?"
My name is Joan.
Well, Miss Joan, so tell me a little bit about kind of what you've seen in the as far as like paranormal stuff and spiritual stuff here in the Elvis room.
Well, as far as seeing any paranormal things, I can see orbs, and I do have quite a few photographs of orbs here in the restaurant over the years. Amazing how many people that will come in here that the universe sends in here for me to wait on.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure, like we were talking about too, that there's definitely an emotional connection people have, and then it seems to be that there's even a spiritual connection to some degree, right?
Oh, definitely. Most of Elvis's fans are very spiritual people. And a lot of times when they come in, because I was an Elvis fan, I connect with them. And
Right.
I've had some pretty interesting encounters here in this Elvis room with some very spiritual Elvis fans. And they brought messages to me multiple times. It amazes me how many Elvis fans. There was an Elvis fan that came in a couple years ago, and we connected, and she had this beautiful ring on. And I said, "I love that ring." She took it off and gave it to me.
That's such a sweet, beautiful human moment, a real connection there.
There was another Elvis fan that came in and sat over there with her friend, and we talked. And before it was over with, she was giving me a message from Spirit.
Oh, wow. What
Yeah.
you want to share what she said?
Well, a friend of mine who has crossed is on the other side, and she came through, and she was talking to me about how much she loved me and how she was here.
Well, we were just kind of talking about too, Elvis and his music. He was so spiritual and he was so connected, with his beliefs and that sort of thing. And then he had all these fans that were so connected to his music and that sort of thing, and connected to um, kind of that energy he was bringing. So it's not any surprise at all that, sitting here, you can kind of feel some of that. And in whatever way that it connects to people, it's here, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's definitely here.
Yeah.
It's here, big time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really beautiful, and thank you for sharing. I think it's really cool to think about having a spot that things can just connect in.
Yeah, you just have to be open. You have to have eyes to see and ears to hear. You got to believe.
Exactly. You gotta believe. Well, thanks so much. Overall, this was a really wonderful experience, even though it went a different direction than I initially thought it would. But it was really fun, and I highly recommend going over to Coletta's. I want to thank them for being a sponsor for this video. It is wonderful, and it helps this channel quite a lot. And yeah, if you're ever in Memphis, Tennessee, please go try out their barbecue pizza. It is delicious, and I can say that from experience. All right, guys, have a great one, and thank you for watching.